So, you've stumbled upon my YouTube channel. Today I'll be dialing in some espresso and showing you how that's done. I roasted up some Nicaraguan beans from Sweet Maria's. So I got these, they're pretty tasty. I haven't really tried them as espresso, and I'll be just showing you the process of how I make a pretty decent shot. So with this coffee, I roasted it to about a full city or full city plus, a little on the darker side of espresso, fits my taste. And here I'm using my Akaya Pearl Model S scale. I really like this thing. It's super reliable and accurate and totally worth the money. Always make sure you tear out your dosing cup. And with this coffee, for here, I want to use about 18 grams of coffee in. Sometimes for a double shot, I'll play around with using 16 grams. But for this case, I'm gonna use 18 because I just kind of like that amount of coffee that I'm using. I've never really seen someone put 17 grams in. It's a little odd to think about. 17.9, good enough. So next is grinding. So there's a lot of factors when it comes to espresso making. You have grind size, water pressure, dosage in, you have your brew ratios, and even water temperature can play a big factor in how your espresso ends up tasting. So what I've done is I put about 18 grams of coffee in, and with a 1-to-2 brew ratio, I should be expecting 36 grams of espresso out of my machine. So today I'm using my Niche Zero grinder, which I got just a few days ago. So this is kind of as much of an experiment of the grinder as it is with this coffee. And I'm gonna be grinding it at about a 25 setting, which is a little coarse for espresso. So just gonna start grinding, plop everything in. And here's a little money shot of the grounds. So now comes loading the grounds into the portafilter. So because I kept the portafilter in the machine, there's a little residue in the basket. Just make sure to wipe all of that out. Make sure your equipment is nice and clean every time. And there's this really cool thing with the dosing cup where you can actually put your portafilter on top and flip it over. And just give it a good shake, a good stir. Make sure all your grounds are distributed evenly. You know, you don't want one side being denser than the other when you go to tamp. And I'm just knocking some grounds down, spreading it all out, really trying to get an even distribution of the coffee because I don't want channeling. And that's where one side or one part of your espresso puck is denser than the other, which means water's gonna have a harder time flowing through there, and it's gonna throw your extraction all out of whack. So I'm tamping evenly, trying to maintain a flat bed, polishing it off a little bit. And now I'm ready to go. So because I only have the Akaya Pearl Model S, it's a little bit bigger of a scale. I don't really have the small one made for espresso. So I'm taking out the drip tray so I can fit my scale under there and the cup under the group head. So I can measure how much espresso is coming out and get everything sorted. So now it's time to plop in the portafilter, lock it in place, put my cup under there, and we're ready to go. So I just started the pump, and I like about a second or two of pre-infusion. And you'll see in just a moment that the espresso is just coming out way too fast. So that means that it's gonna be under-extracted, it's gonna taste bitter, and you can see the crema is a little weak, the pressure wasn't that good. And yeah, it definitely tastes bitter, and just flat and not great. So now we'll try again. You place the beans into your coffee grinder again. And this time I'm gonna aim for a finer setting, about a 18, I believe. So now, put in our portafilter. Place our glass underneath and try again. So last time I had a brew time of about 17 seconds, which is really fast. You want to aim for about 25 to 30 seconds. And this time it was a little better. I had a total brew time of about 22 seconds and had 36 grams out. So this shot tasted a lot better. You can see it looks nice and clear. There's a little bit of tiger striping, but the crema is really nice and thick. It's well balanced and it isn't too much of a tang. But I think we can do better. And by now you might have noticed this pressure gauge. It's just that. It's a gauge to measure the water pressure inside the portafilter. Usually you want to brew at about 9 bars of pressure, which I'm hitting right now. But this machine can be a little finicky because the water pressure does change with your dose and your tamp even. So sometimes it can be hard to make sure it's a consistent pressure. And you're actually able to change it really quickly with this little knob underneath next to the group head. So we're gonna try another shot. And I ran into some trouble with this next shot. I tried, flipping the portafilter over and then flipping all the grounds into it as usual. But this time, I guess I might not have shaken it down too well because when I lifted up, all the grounds were sitting on top of the basket, like they weren't falling into the basket. And I tried tapping it down, but it just made a mess all over my counter. So I guess we'll try again. Grounds evenly distributed. I want to make sure I have a flat bed again, nothing too crazy, and a nice polish at the end. And now I have a flat bed of coffee for a great tasting shot. Yeah, so I think the shot is pretty good. I think the recipe was 18 grams in, 36 or 37 out. And I did it a little finer than I would usually on the niche, but yeah. It's got some acidity for sure on the tongue, but it's pretty well balanced. I like some of the flavor quality it has, and I think it's supposed to have notes of cocoa and a little bitter, like a bitter root. A licorice root, I think the note was. But I'm getting a lot of texture definitely because it's a pretty darkly roasted. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this shot and I hope you enjoy this video.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vinky and I make coffee. Today I'm going to be making coffee. The first step of making coffee is making the beans. To make the beans, you need your bean screwdriver and your bean masher. And then after you get your bean screwdriver and your bean masher, you need to get your beans. So where are the beans? So now that I have my beans, they're pre-made. I have pre-made beans. So now I'm gonna put away my bean masher and my bean screwdriver, and I'm going to put the beans in the pot. When I put the beans in the pot, I have to do them one at a time, like tiny little baby grains of rice, because if not, they will de-percolate. Today I'm going to be making coffee. Did you good? How do I manage to sound like I have a speech impediment when I don't have one?
Oh my god.